Hi, this is Nicholas Bell with IONCINEMA, here to review Scare Me, the directorial debut of Josh Ruben, who also wrote and stars, which premiered at the 2020 Sundance Film Festival and will be available to stream on Shudder as of October 1st, 2020. So this was quite a surprising film. It starts off with two or three kind of unlikable characters, and before you know it, ends up doing some very intriguing and compelling things. It's basically about a man named Fred, played by Mr. Ruben, who goes to a cabin in some wintry, desolate landscape to work on his craft. He wants to be a storyteller. He also wants to be an actor. He meets a young woman named Fanny, who's out for a run, also staying in a nearby cabin, and kind of tries to flirt with her. She's kind of outright rejects his minor advances, but what we learn is she is a successful horror author whose book Venus has been hailed as the best horror film ever made by a lot of esteemed circles, and she's also there in a nearby cabin to work on her latest creation. As luck would have it, later that evening all the power goes out in the area, and she comes knocking on his door and says, "Hey, I'm bored, we should hang out together." And after a little bit more of some fraught kind of passive-aggressive exchanges, she's more aggressive, he's passive, she just says, "Hey, let's play a game, let's order pizza, let's play a game, let's tell each other scary stories to pass the time." And what we learn right away, of course, is that she is a much better storyteller, of course. While his ideas about how to put together a story are usually born out of being quite derivative. However, they start to get into a groove, and they start to kind of collaborate on something that is fun. Meanwhile, the soundtrack is enhancing the details of their story with some auditory cues. The pizza arrives, played by Carlo, is the pizza delivery man, played by Chris Redd of Saturday Night Live. He kind of automatically bonds with Fanny, finds out who she is. He's a big fan. She invites him to stay, and they do some cocaine and stay up telling some more stories. And little by little, Fred seems to kind of become diminished. We've also learned he has kind of a violent history with his ex-girlfriend that resulted in a protection notice on her end. Some other red flags: he doesn't react well to Fanny talking about incels or white men, just he's put off by those kind of things. Carlo leaves because he's supposedly still working, and Fred decides to tell a last story, one that is taken from things that are really happening and feelings he's really experiencing. I found this to be very layered, saying a lot of things about microaggressions, about what men feel like when women best them. I think Aya Cash is quite a discovery. I know she stars in The Boys, the Amazon series, which I have not seen. Just an excellent performance. It's funny that Ruben paints himself as the diminished storyteller, but he's the one that orchestrates the whole thing, which kind of reminded me a little bit of Singing in the Rain, if you think of how Debbie Reynolds was playing a character who's not a good singer, but it's actually her voice dubbing the woman playing the singer. Just a lot of meta things going on, and talking about some things in a very interesting, subversive way, and also showcasing how when we're vulnerable with one another, kind of the fun things that can happen out of collaboration instead of putting up walls, building bridges, to be cliche. Overall, I was not frightened by it, but was very much amused and moved by Scare Me, and I would give it 3.5 out of 5 stars.
I'm Eric Lavallee. I'm editor-in-chief and site owner for IONCINEMA.com, and this is
Kevin Jaggernaut, contributing writer for the playlist.
And together we are Indie Sponge.